Welcome to my channel BornToReddit. Not safe for work. What is the scariest theory known to man? If you want to hear some of the smartest living theoreticians discussing the same question, see ch.org and go to the annual question a few years back called What is Your Dangerous Idea? The Berenstain Bears Theory. Go to your mom's house sometime and take a look at all those old books, and you'll see that the name is, and has always been, Berenstain, with an A. Don't you feel stupid now for misreading it throughout your whole childhood? Well, one theory states that the Berenstain dilemma is a small side effect of our universe intersecting with a parallel dimension sometime in the 90s, and everyone who remembers the Bears' original surname are experiencing residual memories from another dimension. The first time I heard this I thought I was crazy, because I distinctly remembered the original spelling with an E, because I always pronounced it Berenstain. The brain in a vat theory. The brain in a vat is an element used in a variety of thought experiments intended to draw out certain features of our ideas of knowledge, reality, truth, mind and meaning. It assumes the following: that the brain is the origin of all consciousness. The brain operates on electrical impulses. External stimuli can affect the way the brain operates. Any external stimuli to the brain can be simulated to a degree that the brain cannot distinguish these simulated stimuli from natural stimuli. The point is that you could be a brain in a jar, being fed false impulses for your entire life by an external source, or you, still a brain in a jar, could be hallucinating your entire life from lack of stimuli, or you, still a brain in a jar, could be hallucinating your entire life from lack of stimuli. I'm seriously disappointed in my brain if this is the hallucination it is coming up with. Give me a jetpack or something. Brain in a jar. Yeah, seriously. My jar brain is just sitting around here on Reddit all day. I'd have to say that my brain is way more creative than me. Imagine the upvotes I'd get if I did all this content. John Douglas, a former chief of the FBI's elite serial crime unit and author of Mindhunter, says, a very conservative estimate is that there are between 35 and 50 active serial killers in the United States at any given time. Weird. I'm sitting here watching Monster in My Family right now. It's about the immediate family of serial killers and how they cope with their lives after finding out. This one is about Robert Lee Yates. I watched that yesterday. I was around 10 or 11 at the time that was going on, but I remember that's how I learned what prostitutes were. I live in Spokane and the street he was picking up hookers on is still pretty known for prostitution. There's a theory that our universe is in a false vacuum that will eventually collapse and completely destroy or ultimately alter our universe. That would mean that no matter how far we develop, no matter how many planets we'll settled, and no matter how many medical feats humanity will have accomplished, we would have a deadline where we would be forever deleted. I mean, the heat death of the universe is still a deadline if that's not true, right? That's why we make contracts: 3. You could be stuck in a time loop right now and you would not be able to notice it, let alone escape it. This doesn't bother me in the slightest. If this is life infinity for me, cool. Hasn't bothered me in the slightest, and frankly I'm cool with being given a second shot. It didn't bother you the last time either, so that's good. Or maybe it did. Maybe you were screaming in agony last time, and you just haven't hit that part of the loop yet. For me it's solipsism. Easiest way to explain it is with a quote from Wiki: solipsism, the philosophical idea that only one's own mind is sure to exist. As an epistemological position, solipsism holds that knowledge of anything outside one's own mind is unsure. The external world and other minds cannot be known and might not exist outside the mind. As a metaphysical position, solipsism goes further to the conclusion that the world and other minds do not exist. Basically, every person you see, including family and friends, are possibly figments of your imagination and you can never know for sure. Is it solipsistic in here or is it just me? Just you. The idea that my mind has made up Reddit and all of you is, well, mind-blowing. Why did your mind make all of us a-holes? I'm forgetting the name of the theory right now, but the theory follows something along the lines of this. The sole reason for every single human achievement throughout history is due to our innate and deep fear of death. We are beings that think beyond just instinct and understand that every one human will cease to exist. This fear of non-existence has driven us to create everything we have made today, kind of the opposite of the will to power theory in psychology. That, should we destroy civilization, there are not enough fossil fuels in easily reachable places for any subsequent society to achieve an industrial revolution. We mine most of it and the only stuff that's left requires modern technology to reach. We're all she wrote. If we frick up, there's no coming back from it. That's a damn good point. Old saying in Kansas was that you could sweep up coal with a broom in 1800s. I live in Kansas. The real saying is frick I hate Kansases. So, basically Mad Max is possible. It'd be more like the road. So don't get your hopes up. Neil deGrasse Tyson's greatest fear is that aliens have already found us and decided we are too primitive to be worth contacting. That space is a lot like a jungle. We're basically here on Earth shouting out into the darkness with our satellites and technology. We're telling whatever might be out there exactly where we are. But in the jungle, monkeys don't try and contact tigers for good reason. We have no idea what's really out there. Most of the time, jungles are noisy places. Filled with the calls of various animals. Some monkeys will even give out warning calls at the sight of a predator. There are very few things that will make a jungle go silent, or cause all of the fish on a reef to suddenly flee. None of them bode well for a careless human interloper. Let's hope space isn't like that. That we live in a simulation. It's not hard to believe that one day we will be able to create a simulated world. Probably more than one, maybe hundreds. Maybe our simulated worlds will become advanced enough to make their own simulated worlds, and so on. We might be living in a simulated world. We could be living in the simulated world of a simulated world. A lot of theories like that seem completely pointless though. Okay, we are in a simulation, or a brain in a jar or whatever, but unless there is a way to definitely prove it and use it for something, why does it matter? It wouldn't change anything, but unless there is a way to definitely prove it and use it for something, why does it matter? It wouldn't change anything. Nick Bostrom, the philosopher associated with the simulation argument, has said that if we established the universe was a simulation, figuring out why the simulation is being run and how we can make sure it doesn't get turned off becomes very important. The goal of this simulation is for the simulants to find out that we're running a simulation to find out how long it takes to determine the goal of the simulation. Damn, our programmers are morons. Marriage will fix the red flags your dong is telling you to ignore. No, that's having kids. There is a theory which states that if ever anyone discovers exactly what the universe is for and why it is here, it will instantly disappear and be replaced by something even more bizarre and inexplicable. There is another theory which states that this has already happened. Douglas Adams. This sounds like a too long didn't read for the history of science. Each time we understand things, we find out that reality is actually more complicated than that. Aristotle, Newton, Einstein, and so on. So it's a giant complicated riddle. But this theory disproves itself. This would mean that the answer to the riddle would be the riddle itself. Quit trying to end the universe. Mom, Barry's trying to end the universe again. God damn it, Barry, you're grounded. None of this it is scary. It's either we're gonna die, in 2 billion years, or the world might be fake. Is your grip on reality so tight? Honestly, none of that is that scary precisely, because we have no control over it. I'd be more scared if we had a tiny chance to escape that fate, because then the anxiety of needing to accomplish it would kick in. If we're doomed and we can't do it about it is real, then we should just live our lives to our best ability anyway, because that is all that matters. We are actually the most advanced beings in the universe right now, and the fear of invading aliens taking our planet for resources is actually just the fear of what we will become. As scary as this is, I think it's fun to think about. I like this one. Yeah. One day we will be mass murdering alien races, their kids hiding in the basement as we vaporize their parents. I honestly hope we form some kind of galactic UN that can and will use military force to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Yes, some kind of federation. A load of planets, all united. Democratic Order of Planets, or DOOP, for short. Planetary Order of Protection, POOP. That any computer to be able to pass the Turing test would also be able to see that it would be a bad thing to do so. That there could be a machine right now that could act as a human, but is also intelligent enough to know not to let us know it could. Any computer to be able to pass the Turing test would also be able to see. How so? I mean, even if a machine were intelligent enough to see the wisdom of choosing to fake the test, being intelligent does not make you omniscient. It may not be able to conclude that from the available information it has, that a previous blood donation could be in a boner right now. That's not such a bad thought, to know my blood might be bringing someone peanuts right now. Virtually all of mankind's fears, falling, spiders, etc. are based on things that were threatening to our ancestors. So keeping this in mind, why do so many of our images of monsters and demons look the same? Okay, Stephen Moffat. that Donald Trump could be elected president. That's not scary. He's too crazy to get anything done. He'll peter out, resign, or otherwise make a mockery of the office while we get a good reality show out of it. I like to comfort myself with lies, by the way. Yeah, well, let's just hope he doesn't crash the economy or start a world war before that happens. What is that one theory you once read that still keeps you awake at night? And how did your life become different after knowing it? And don't forget, subscribe or I'll insert tiny little pieces of shattered glass directly into your pee hole.